think we are rocking and rolling here. Yep.
All right. We are live. Here we go.
Live here on studio.
How's everyone doing out there? We'll give it a few minutes here. Let some people start to come in.
Yeah, we have a very exciting night.
We do
tonight.
have a very exciting night. Well, I mean, they're always exciting, but this is even more exciting than
Jade
usual.
has joined. Rena has joined.
Yeah, we got some people coming in here on TikTok.
Can you see the user 8889? Can you click on that? Can you not to say hi? Yeah.
Oh.
We are basically trying to use StreamYard to our Facebook Live friends as well as YouTube. And we're also going to be streaming live on TikTok. So we're trying to get this set up. So bear with us. Okay. I did invite you.
Okay, I'm on.
All right. Fantastic.
All right. This is working.
Okay,
cool.
Fantastic. So John's going to give our standard introduction.
How's everybody doing out there
How's everyone doing out there tonight?
My name is John Gardner. This is my wife and law partner, Radlin Mendoza. And we are the immigration law firm Gardner and Mendoza, celebrating our 25-year anniversary, by the way. We're going to be having a big party, probably in the fall, I think. Anyway, we come to you every Wednesday night or Thursday, depending on how our schedules play out, but at least once a week, typically, to give you immigration updates. And most importantly, we like to answer your questions. So we're on Facebook Live right now. We also are on TikTok. Hello, everyone out there on TikTok. That's where most of our questions come from. If you are joining us on TikTok, go ahead and get your question posted. And please just post it once, because we just take them in the order that they come in. So when you put it in there 1,000 times, it actually just slows everything down. All right. I do want to warn you that what we do here is for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only.
Especially entertainment.
Yeah. It's not legal advice. It can't be legal advice because we are not representing you. You're not our clients. And you're giving us questions. We're getting a small snippet of information, and it's very difficult based on a very short question to really, really get the answer to be reliable enough to be legal advice. So we would never do that anyway. It'd be malpractice. Okay. If you do become a client of ours, we're going to dig deep. We're going to go through all the facts. We're going to uncover every stone. We're going to look at everything and make sure that there's nothing we don't know. But that said, send your questions. We absolutely love to answer questions, and we know you all have a ton of questions. So let's get to it.
Let's keep them coming.
Yeah,
let's keep them coming.
Absolutely. And we've already got some folks joining us here on what is
YouTube.
That? That's YouTube. Maya Ford says hi, hello. Come King says hello. And
wait, I wasn't listening to the introduction.
Yeah, it's the standard.
Did we introduce Odette?
I was going to let you do that.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was sharing. We sometimes we tune out depending on what is going on. All right, I will introduce Odette Causey today. Odette Causey is a dear friend of mine. She is someone that I have worked. Oh, wait, hold on a second, guys. My music is playing here in the background still. My bad. But she's someone who I've worked with for many, many years. Probably, Odette, what would you say, 20?
Yes, at least 20 years.
Oh my gosh, 20 years. I have been knowing this woman. So Odette Causey has recently retired from USCIS. Her most recent post was the Norfolk field office, and there she was a senior immigration officer. And Odette, if I'm missing anything, please chime in. And and she and I have worked together in the sense that Odette was on the other side of the desk, right? Odette was the senior immigration officer who was deciding whether our clients would be getting a permanent resident card, whether they would be getting U.S. citizenship, whether they would be getting their tenure card, and other benefits as well. And that's how we got to know each other. And we have a really great rapport. I'm going to say, I can't say that over the past 20 years that Odette has given me 100% approvals. I don't know. I can't remember, right? There might have been one or two where she was wrong and maybe denied my case. And then we fought it and then we got it up down. I'm just totally kidding and making everything up. But we're super happy for her to be here today. And we're going to be working with Odette, and she's going to be helping us provide educational information for all of you and for all the people who have been following us, because what the information that we're sharing is super, super important for you all to know, especially now. So anyhow, all right. What questions do you have for us? What questions do you have?
We're lucky we have special guests with us. So if you guys have some questions, we like to answer them. But now we also have an added expertise here. And let's see, we got somebody here who's really having fun making fun of my hair, lack of hair. Okay, whatever. It's not the first time I've heard it.
Okay, I love this first question here.
Okay.
We're going to give this one to Odette, right? Do you see that question, Odette?
The green card one got stolen? That one?
Now we've got one here on TikTok. So this is the first question we have tonight. Shantai wants to know what causes a home visit by USCIS. Oh, well, it's a shame. It'd be really nice if we had a seasoned veteran of USCIS here to answer. Oh, wait, we do.
Yes. And guys, before we start and answer this question, please like and share and follow. And if you think that anyone that you know would benefit from having us or having Odette, senior immigration officer, recently retired, answer any immigration question, please share the link and let them join.
Yeah, this is your chance to really, get an inside scoop and sort of see things from the other side of the desk. We all go to the USCIS immigration office. We're sitting on one side. Odette's been on the other side. So let's take advantage of it.
Okay. Well, what causes a visit? That would be discrepancies in your application, documents that are submitted, information provided during the interview. Those are one of the top three.
Okay. So discrepancies, information provided in the interview. What was the third one? It was the second one.
Lack of documentation.
Lack of documentation. Okay. Well, that's a really great and succinct answer. Hopefully that answered your question, the person who asked that. And Odette, we were talking a few weeks ago, and I believe that you mentioned, I don't want to put words in your mouth, about people who self-file their immigration cases. Let's talk about a one-step, for example. There's a lot of documentation there, a lot that's required. People who self-file versus a case that is filed by immigration attorneys, like, for example, Gardner and Mendoza. Do you see a difference in those types of filings? And maybe even take that question a step further. Are there more home visits for non-attorney filed cases?
There are more home visits because an attorney is more thorough with the application. They're going to go over it with a fine-tooth comb. They're going to make sure you have all your ducks in a row. They're going to ask you questions that are already known at interview time to make sure that you're well prepared for your interview. So you want to make sure that if you don't have all those things or you have questions about your application, you may want to contact them.
Okay, awesome. So let's move on to the next question. We want to keep it rolling because a lot of times we don't get to all of the questions, and I know that people are still joining here. So,
all right. So Babu says, "Hi, is a wet reckless a serious offense for a green card holder according to California law?" So we get these questions from time to time. Odette, I don't know if you want to weigh in on that. For those of you who don't know, a wet reckless is basically when somebody had typically what started out as a DUI charge and got reduced to reckless driving or converted to reckless driving, but the penalties that they had were the same as a DUI. They sometimes still have ignition interlock. They sometimes still do alcohol safety programs, are required to go to AA meetings, that kind of thing, but it's still showing up as a reckless driving. I don't know about California specifically. In Virginia, they are both class 1 misdemeanors. And so they're classified the same in terms of their classification under state law. However, the penalties are different. So,
is this person a green card holder?
A green card holder. So what do we think about somebody who's a green card holder who has a wet reckless in California?
What's the impact?
What concerns should they have, or should they just be sleeping restfully tonight, worried about nothing?
Well, before we answer this question, I do want to preface any answers that we give. Again, this is not legal advice, guys.
Absolutely.
This is not legal advice. Do not take this bit of information like, oh, I can go travel. I can do this. I can do XYZ. I can go apply for naturalization, because we simply don't know without having your full immigration history and the full picture. So with that said, I'll weigh in. I mean, I think that it will probably be okay. What do you think, Odette?
Most likely it will be okay. But again, we do full background checks at immigration. So hopefully that's all it is. And I don't know what the current laws are for California, but we do check every law for every state that any crimes or any traffic violations that you have, they're all checked.
Yeah. And you said it's the same, like it's class 1 misdemeanor, right? So what do you think?
Still a class 1 misdemeanor. I'm with Odette here. I think that you're probably okay. My concern always when we answer questions on this live stream that involve criminal convictions is we have found through the years that a lot of people are sometimes confused about what they actually were convicted of, what their criminal record really is. Mm-hmm. They think cases were dismissed that weren't. They think that it was charged as one thing, they were convicted of something else, and we find out that's not true. And so the advice that I always give, and Radlin and I always give together, is if you have a criminal record, I mean, immigration is complicated enough. It's hard enough of a process to be in. If you have a criminal record, you really should be consulting with an immigration attorney before you make any new moves with immigration, whether it be naturalizing, or if you're not a green card holder yet, becoming a permanent resident, getting a green card, because the criminal record always complicates things a little bit, and sometimes it can complicate it a lot. So just red flag, be careful.
All right.
All righty. Okay, here we go. We knew these questions were going to be coming. Here's the first one of the night. Sarah wants to know, I was born in one of the 70 banned countries, but I'm a citizen of the United Kingdom. Is my application on hold? So she's a citizen of the UK,
yeah,
was born in a banned country, and wants to know what will happen to her application.
Yeah, so first off, this is not a ban. This is a pause. And the pause is specifically, as you mentioned, there's now 75 countries. And this is all very new. This just went into effect on the 21st. So when we talk about a pause, the consular officer may still interview you, right? But right now, based on the policy, they can't approve your case until there is more guidance on how to take a look at the public charge and how that affects each individual. So, but to answer your question, my understanding is that if you are a citizen of another country, then this does not apply to you, right? So I can't put my finger on it, but I did read that. And so you're probably okay. But even if you weren't, again, I just want to reiterate to everyone out there who rightfully is really afraid and nervous about their application, like what's going to happen. This is a ban. I'm not going to be able to get my visa. That's just simply not true. That's simply not true. If you have a public charge issue, maybe they're going to ask you for more documentation. Maybe they're going to make you get a joint sponsor, but it doesn't necessarily mean that your case is going to get denied. And it's certainly not a ban, right? It's certainly not a ban that, okay, no one from these countries are coming. It's a pause for, I'm going to say, the State Department to get it all together on what their guidance is going to be and how they are going to take a look at these individual applications and see how it pertains to public charge. I mean, the bottom line is, this administration is doubling down on what are we going to call it? Like an economic people who suck the U.S. economy dry and don't provide it. I mean that's just like a not a nice way to put it, but that's just the reality. And I think that's what we have going on here. And just until we get guidance, this pause is going to be in effect. But if you are a citizen of another country, should not apply to you. Odette, anything to add on that public charge?
Well, no, I mean, she mentioned her 485, so it looks like she's already got that I-130. So if the 485 is pending, it shouldn't affect anything on that either.
And this is only for consular processing. So this does not affect any applications that are filed here in the United States. This is only for anyone who's outside of the United States and waiting on the issuance of their actual immigrant visa. So good catch. I didn't see that. It's probably down the line there.
Maybe yeah.
So yep, you should be good to go. But again, make sure that all of your public charge documentation is in order. You have the affidavit of support. You've got petitioners most recently filed taxes and the documentation to show that they filed taxes in the 2 previous years, and those figures, employment letter or pay stubs. So, all right, very, very good question.
Good question. Okay.
We have no questions on Facebook yet.
No questions on Facebook yet.
Okay.
All right, but we do have to keep coming here on TikTok. Stefenzi wants to know, my green card got stolen a few years back and is expired. Should I get it renewed or go for citizenship? All right.
Well, that
your green card
I like your attitude.
But I love the question. Should I get it renewed or go for citizenship? What do we think?
Well, my question here is, okay, so you're just walking and talking in the United States of America with no permanent resident card in your pocket. I mean, that's my concern, right? That you don't have a document to show that you are a lawful permanent resident. Back me up here, Odette. I didn't care about this as much a couple years ago, right? If you didn't have physical proof that you are a lawful permanent resident a couple of years ago, okay, fine. It was no big deal. But if you're watching any type of news, social media, anything, you do see that U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents who obviously are here legally and lawfully, particularly if you're a U.S. citizen, they are getting caught in the dragnet. And so, one, I don't like to waste money for clients, right? We don't typically recommend this. But if you don't have a green card, then I would recommend that you file the I-90 if it's renewing your 10-year card. And I would also recommend that you file for U.S. citizenship. What do we say, folks? Are we in agreement? That this person
with the climate today, I'm 100% agree. You should renew your card. You don't know if an emergency is going to happen and you need to travel. There's no guarantee that you'll be able to get an appointment fast enough to get in to get any type of stamp, because they're going to also see, hey, you didn't renew your card for 3 years. Why should we give you a stamp? So we no longer issue the stamps just because you filed for citizenship.
Yeah, right.
The law is that you should, file for the new green card right now. With everything going on, I would do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the other thing is too, you bring up citizenship, and we always bring up citizenship when somebody's renewing their green card. Like, why are you not applying for citizenship? Right? Do you want to do this for the rest of your life till your dying days? No. Let's say you live to be 80. That's like 7 times. If my math is correct. But you do have to ask the fundamental question, though, of are you eligible for citizenship, right? And let us help you evaluate that. We can help you see whether you're a good candidate for a U.S. citizenship. Odette mentioned with the climate today, I would take all precautions. And with citizenship and USCIS looking at totality of circumstances and not just, seeing that, oh yeah, you're a person of good moral character because you didn't commit a crime, you pay your child support, da 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 da. They're also looking beyond the four corners of the N-400 application, and we've John and I have done a webinar on it about this totality of circumstances. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you asked which one you should do. Do both.
Do both if you're eligible.
Get the card, and then if you're eligible for citizenship, you just call us, and we take care of it.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Okay, we have another. We have a question here on Facebook. So why don't we go ahead and snag that before we come back to the TikTok questions?
Okay.
Abdullah wants to know.
Here, we'll throw it up.
Yeah, you want to just post it there?
Okay. Abdullah, if you are a green card holder from those countries, travel ban, can you still travel out of the United States?
So I guess the concern is they have a green card, but they're from one of the banned countries. They're calling the banned countries, 75 countries. Their concern is they're going to leave the U.S., and when they come back, they're going to have a problem getting back in.
Because they are a citizen of one of the banned countries. Travel questions are dicey.
Yeah, they sure are.
Right now. So my understanding, again, we have not had any clients who are subject to that original travel ban. There's no one of our green card holders who is subject to the travel ban, or we don't have any clients right now that fall under that. And so my understanding is the travel ban does not affect permanent residents, right? It doesn't affect people who already have their green card. And but if you look at all of our videos for the past, I don't know, 6 months or so, travel is an issue. I mean, travel is a concern for our clients. And when when your immigration attorney or when you see other lawyers on TikTok say, yeah, you can travel, we at Gardner Mendoza, we want you to do whatever, the 10-point check, right? The 10-point check of, okay, fine, I'm from one of these countries, I'm probably going to be okay coming in as a permanent resident. But let's go through some of those things. Do you want to start with the criminal stuff?
Well, yeah, you do have to be careful. As I mentioned earlier about, criminal record is always a red flag. And I like to remind people that there are some criminal convictions that will not make you removable from the United States, but will make you inadmissible to the United States when you're coming back in. And you're also dealing with different agencies. CBP may have a different view of it, even than some other agency might tell you one thing, but you're dealing with one officer there when you're entering, and you really don't know what you're going to get on any given day. So you have to be really careful. And again, with these convictions, a lot of folks think that they've had charges dismissed. And I want to remind you, as I do every week, if you had a criminal case and you were charged with something and it was ultimately dismissed, but the dismissal came after you did something that the court required you to do, say an anger management class or a drug counseling class or something of that nature, and then you went back a year later and it was dismissed, that is still a conviction for immigration purposes and something that you need to be careful with, because in those cases, typically the courts are finding the facts sufficient for a finding of guilt, but they're dismissing it because you did whatever, the counseling. So be very careful. Again, criminal record of any kind, red flag, consult a professional.
Yeah, criminal record. I think did you mention drug charge? Yeah, you mentioned drug charges.
Yeah,
so marijuana, anything stronger than marijuana? not a drug user yet. But marijuana is very, very dangerous because marijuana has been decriminalized in so many states, right? So people who are permanent residents like, oh, cool, it's decriminalized. Not for you. It's not, because it's still illegal under federal law. And I know it has kind of dropped down in the controlled substance chart or whatever. You can talk more about that. Mm-hmm. But you still may be inadmissible if you're coming into the United States with a marijuana conviction from years prior, even a marijuana ticket, if it's not really clear how much marijuana you had, right? So you got to be really careful with marijuana. That I've had one client, and one is enough, who he had his marijuana conviction started off with a possession with intent to distribute, and it got dropped down to misdemeanor possession of marijuana. But when he was coming back in out after a short visit into the United States, he got deferred inspection. He got arrested actually at USCIS's office, because ICE, I was at ICE back then. I shared an office with the USCIS back in the day. They actually had a jail cell back there. Remember that, Odette?
I remember. I was there.
So I was a very young attorney when this happened. Imagine my shock and dismay when my client, who's a young college student, is freaking taken back and arrested because of his simple possession of marijuana. He was in jail for 3-4 months until we got a waiver. And I mean, he loves us, of course, but it was a very, very stressful time for him, his family, and he was a college student. So you have to be really careful about marijuana. I'm particularly sensitive about that because it's something that can happen to anyone really easily. The other thing is, how long have you been outside the United States? Have there been any periods of time where you've been outside the United States for more than 108 days, more than a year, and they didn't really ding you on it at that point in time, but now you're coming in, they look at your record like, wow, you were out of the United States for 3 years. And we let you back in for some reason, but yeah, we're going to have to look at that now. So that's a concern. The other, I think, catch-all is fraud, right? Is there any kind of fraud that you committed in getting your green card? It's, when I think about something like this, I think it's tough for CBP to detect fraud. Like if you lied on your green card application in order to get your green card, I think it would be tough to know that, but it's still something that I am concerned about for my clients and for, giving information about traveling outside of the United States. And one other thing that, and Odette, maybe you can speak more about this, how it does apply when you're looking at adjustment of status applications, is like the social media, right? I know that, especially when issuing visas, but I think social media can potentially be an issue, and it's something to think about, of what your social media looks like when you're coming back into the United States, and what do you want to do about it? So, Odette, did you guys, I know that social media and looking at social media accounts really kind of heated up in the last 90 to 120 days. Did you see anything like that
Well, as the immigration officer and we're doing the interview, we don't technically look at social media.
Yeah.
But when they do the background checks, they do.
Okay.
And they will flag things. And just like John said, CBP has full authority of people returning to the U.S. So even if they look good to leave, that no guarantee they can come back. So you want to be careful traveling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, and I want to warn folks too that, some folks, just because you've traveled in the past and had no problem coming back in, it doesn't necessarily mean that will be the case right now. So if you're thinking, well, I've never had a problem before, and I've always had this on my record, new sheriff, new problem,
new rules, right? And it's kind of like the analogy to speeding, right? And
you might, maybe you live in a neighborhood where the speed limit's 35, but everyone in your neighborhood always goes 45 or 50 on that road, and nobody ever gets pulled over because that's just the way it's been. And then, some new officer comes into town and decides, oh, the speed limit's 35. I'm pulling every single person who's going over 35. Just be careful. You feel like, oh, well, I've always done it this way, it shouldn't be a problem. That's not necessarily the case.
Yeah. And if you are clear to go by your immigration attorney, right, your immigration attorney is going to advise you to carry your certified disposition to show that it's done, and the outcome of it, that you paid your fines, right?
Mhm.
That everything is done with this particular charge or conviction. And it's a lot to think about. I mean, it's not, just as John mentioned, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to go and come back in. It's a lot to think about. Poor Abdullah is like, oh, holy moly. I'm not going anywhere.
They did say, Abdullah did say, thank you so much. So that's good. Obviously, this is useful information. That's
and
great.
we do really hammer this home because, in February of 2025, one of my old clients, and I tell this story every single live, one of my old clients texted me. He's like, oh, they've been holding my daughter kind of a long time. The daughter is green card holder. She left the country, was coming back in through Dulles. And the text started to get a little bit more frantic as the hours ticked by, right? Finally, she called me at 8 p.m. and she said, they're detaining my daughter. And I said, why? She said, well, she has a theft conviction. That's another one. Theft is theft is a big time, because it's like so nothing, right? It's a misdemeanor. It's just a nothing thing. Anything like so anyway, her daughter had been convicted of misdemeanor theft. It was some shoplifting thing. Case was over. She did not pay her fines. And it popped up. This whole case eventually went away and it was dropped, but she had to do a few months of check-in with ICE. She spoke with an immigration attorney in Washington, D.C., and their quote to her was, it's going to be $60,000, right? So this is a person who just didn't check all of the boxes before traveling. And again, this was February of 2025. We have new sheriff in town, right? And she may have been able to travel back and forth with an unpaid shoplifting fine, but no mas. Got to be careful. And we always really belabor this just to make sure to drive it home. Anything to add, Odette?
No, I think you covered it all.
Yeah. It's like, stop talking. No, this is one of the most frequently asked questions.
Yeah, it's a danger zone for sure. And there's another question here. Does a traffic or speeding ticket affect a green card? Again, no, so long as that's really what it is. I mean, if you just have a basic speeding ticket and you're a permanent resident with a green card, you don't have anything to be concerned about.
Right. Now, if you're applying for U.S. citizenship and you have a whole bunch of traffic tickets and speeding tickets, Odette, what do we think about, say, 15 to 20 speeding tickets?
Well, first we want payment to show that you paid all 15 to 20 of them.
Paid all the fines over the course of like 10 years, 15 tickets. What do we think? Are we a person of good moral character? Some of them are in that 5 years.
Maybe in question. That may be
in question. Yeah. Right. I asked this question because we had a tough time getting our client's case approved. He had tons of tickets. You guys gave us a really hard time about that.
Yeah. And one warning, and I think that will back us up here, is that they know. We warn our clients all the time that don't think that just because the ticket was in Utah and it was a few years ago and you live in Norfolk now, that they're not going to know anything about it. They will know about it. And a lot of times they'll even give you an opportunity to correct it. Say, was there something out west maybe that you're forgetting? And you're like, no, I've never been to Utah. That's a bad move. It's something that wouldn't be a problem anyway. But once you start lying about it,
right,
then you create a problem for yourself.
I kind of want to also say that even if you had any type of criminal charges in your home country, you need to make sure you contact an immigration attorney and you let them know everything. Because if it pops up later, it's not good.
That's a great insight.
That is really great. Right.
That has popped up several times.
Mm-hmm. So Odette,
you know everything.
Yeah, you know everything, right? With Interpol, everything. That question is, have you ever, what is the question exactly? The word, have you ever in or outside of the United States, right?
Right.
That's the question on the I-45. Have you ever in or outside the United States ever been charged, cited, indicted, convicted da 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 da. And yeah, that's a really good point. We don't really talk about that much, but you see, it is the senior immigration officer, recently retired Odette Causey, who is giving us the perspective from the other side of the desk.
Yeah, folks, you are here on the right night.
Yes, you're here on the right night. And I will, since we're kind of halfway in, we'll go ahead and reintroduce ourselves. My name is Radlin Mendoza, and I am co-founder of Gardner Mendoza, and this is my husband and law partner, John Gardner. And we started the law firm 25 years ago, and we were, young and dumb, but now we're older and a lot wiser. So we would love to have you consult with us about your immigration issues, about your immigration problems, because now more than ever with this climate, as Odette has mentioned, you need somebody to be making sure that you are crossing your T's and dotting your I's. Tonight, we have senior immigration officer who has recently retired, Odette Causey, and we've worked together for many years. Again, other side of the desk, which is adjudicating our cases. And we're so thrilled that Odette is here to share her knowledge with us. And guys, stay tuned. We will be doing a webinar next week about, some of the top filing mistakes that senior immigration officers like Odette sees when you are filing your case. So that's going to be very helpful. So like and follow, we'll be announcing that very soon. And we would love to have you join our webinar and Q&A. All right.
All right. We'll move away from the, well, actually, we're not totally moving away from criminal. It's sort of related. But Nads wants to know, I filed for a U visa. How long does it usually take to get approved?
It depends on whether a visa is available. I mean, it takes a long time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's a bad answer, but it takes several years, depending on visa availability, depending on when you filed it. I don't have the visa bulletin in front of me right now. Depends on what country you're from. And so it can take several years. Thankfully, you have your intermediate benefits that you get, your work authorizations. You're able to work while you're waiting on that.
Right. And we've been talking a lot about criminal record, but if you are not the perpetrator, if you're the victim of a crime, this could be an option for you. And you should absolutely reach out.
Yes, we're doing a lot. We have a lot of, sorry for interrupting. We have a lot of U visa applications in the pipeline right now.
Yep. Yeah, if you're in that category, please give us a call. We may be able to help you out. Annette here wants to know, it says, hi there, it's been 2.5 years and I haven't received approval yet for the petition for my spouse.
Well, are you a permanent resident or are you a U.S. citizen? If you're a permanent resident, I mean, 2.5 years is tracking, right? I mean, it's taking a couple years. Let me look. let me look at USCIS processing time. And while I'm looking up USCIS processing times, I will just tell you how I do that, right? So it's a secret. It's a secret that I've been keeping from you guys all this time. You basically type into your phone browser USCIS processing times. USCIS's site will come right up. Now, guys, remember to go to uscis.gov. Do not pay for an application. Do not pay for information. The information on uscis.gov is free. So I checked USCIS processing times. I will go ahead and click on that link. And I'll put I-130 petition in. Then the next box is form category. And let's just say that you are a permanent resident, you're filing for your spouse, because 2.5 years is too long for the other one. And so we're going to go to the next thing here, which is service sent. Wait, oh, it's not showing up. the time is not showing up.
No, not for SCOPS, but for National Benefit Center, it's 49.5 months.
Right. 49. So that's 4 years, more than 4 years.
Yeah.
More than 4 years.
Yeah. So if you're a U.S. citizen, we'll just change this because maybe you are a U.S. citizen and this is taking. Do you have it up? 17
Yep.
months. Still 17.
17 months for SCOPS.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you're a U.S. citizen, you're way outside of processing times. You can make inquiries and try to figure out what it is, what's going on. If you are a permanent resident petitioning for your spouse, then you're still within processing times, and that's just such a long period of time. It's ridiculous. Question though, what's the question? When are you eligible for citizenship? Because that's an option that you could do. You could file for U.S. citizenship, become a U.S. citizen within about 8 months, right? Ish. Is that what we're seeing, Odette? 8 months ish.
Ish. Yes.
Sometimes faster. So that's why we put the ish in. Let's say it takes 8 months or 10 months for you to become a U.S. citizen. And then your case is your I-130 petition. You'll notify USCIS that you are now a U.S. citizen, and then it's going to just go into the faster lane. So now you do have to kind of analyze everything, though, right? Do you have minor children who are under that I-130 petition? Then you'd have to file an individual I-130 petition for each of your children as a U.S. citizen. Don't forget that piece. That's very important because I think a lot of people think that when they have a pending I-130 petition for their spouse, and maybe there are some minor children on that, when they become a U.S. citizen, that everybody's still going to be on that I-130 petition. That's just not true. You have to file an individual I-130 petition for each of those children, and it would be well worth it if you have a few more years left on that I-130 petition. So great question. Turn into like 3 other things.
Okay. City here wants to know, says, how long I have to wait for a family-based from a U.S. citizen green card after a biometric and RFE back in October 2025?
I'm going to have a glass of water and let Odette answer that question.
You are still within processing time.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are just joining us, we are married. So if you're wondering why we're sharing a glass of water.
Would it be more professional if we just had our own glass of water and maybe not the boobs, butt, and beer cup that we're drinking out of?
So you filed a application for green cards back in October. You're still within processing time for that before you even get scheduled for an interview.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you are, City, right? So
I don't know what state you are in.
Yeah, I think Norfolk
can't read that.
Is maybe I'm not going to guess, but I think it's like around 10 months or so for a marriage-based immediate relative, obviously family-based adjustment of status. But yes, you're still well within processing times. So maybe the question though is how long did she? Okay, the RFE was filed back in October of 2025, so that's not when she filed it. How long does it generally take for USCIS to make a decision after an applicant submits their request for evidence? Is there like a time frame? I mean, I always say 60 days.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on, did the service center send that RFE or did the field
office good point.
RFE?
Yeah, who sent it? That's a really good point.
All right, City says thank you, and City is in Texas, and you're welcome. Okay, Willie has a question here. He says, good evening. I have my interview in my country. How long will I be out of the country? My case is an I-130.
So is it for, all right, let's just make some assumptions here. You're in the United States, your spouse has filed an I-130 petition for you. Let's just say you've also filed a 601A waiver, right? A provisional waiver, maybe. I don't know, because why are you leaving? But anyway, those are my questions. Like, why are you leaving? If you are leaving then you have a 601A waiver filed. I'm making a lot of assumptions here, and approved. And you've gone through National Visa Center processing. Now you have an interview scheduled. Our clients who go through the 601A process, they're usually not in the country for more than 2 weeks. You know, if everything goes as planned, I should say that. There have been 2 occasions where everything did not go as planned. One was the civil surgeon who was doing our client's medical was suspicious about one of our client's tattoos, and they thought it was gang related. So they, he stayed there for about 3 months until they investigated the tattoo and everything else. He's able to come. Great, happy ending. But that was not 2 weeks. It was 3 months. He was working, and it was a huge disruption to his family and the family's income and everything. But that's an example. The other time, there's only been 2 times, and we file a lot of provisional waivers. Are we that good? Yeah, we are. So the other time was, so the 601A only, waives unlawful presence, right? The unlawful presence bar. So if you have something else other than unlawful presence, like a fraud, there's a fraud claim, then when the client presents himself at the U.S. Embassy, and they're like, wait a minute, we believe that you committed fraud when you went to the United States because you lied to us to get the visa. So we're going to need you to file another fraud waiver, right? So then clients out of the country, we need to find another fraud waiver, another waiver. It's essentially the same waiver. It gets approved. I mean, it's kind of silly the way that it gets done. It gets approved, and the client can then come. But in that situation, we didn't know about the fraud. Of course, we would have prepared a client for it. But in that situation, our client was in his country for about 9 months before he was able to come. We had to wait until that waiver was approved. So it really depends, Willie. Hopefully you don't have any of those things. One thing that I want everyone out there who's doing provisional waiver to be aware of is the permanent bar, because we have seen that really just destroy a case. So if you have a permanent bar, I would not recommend that you leave. All right. Great question, though, Willie. I mean, I don't know if I got your facts correct, but I'm just curious as to why you're leaving the country. But there's a reason why you're leaving the country.
Okay. Adorencia over here wants to know on TikTok, how long does a field office have to schedule an appointment?
Depends on, well, I'll let you answer that question, Annette, since you're a field office pro.
The scheduling actually is not done by our office. The scheduling is done by the service center once everything is in place. So all forms are completed, paid for, biometrics done, background done. Once everything is done, then we actually just open up slots for like 45 days in advance, and then they start scheduling them for us.
So what's the process?
Yeah, so if the service center sends an RFE and you don't respond right away, you're not getting scheduled. You just fall right back into the same loop and it starts again. So if they send something, you need to respond ASAP to get scheduled away.
So the service center is kind of like a clearinghouse, basically.
Correct.
Okay. And when the client or when the applicant is issued an RFE and they don't respond to it, like for the 485, for example, that also holds up the work authorization and advanced parole. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Everything goes on hold.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's great information, great advice. Not legal advice, but great information. All right. Sadaf here wants to know if K1 visas are still going on. We still doing K1s?
100%.
100%?
100%, my brother.
Absolutely.
So here's the $1 million tip for you guys today. And it's for the people, and this is a question, that we're getting, can I still file a K-1 visa petition? Yes, you can, and you should. So even if I'm, my fiance is from Jamaica or from one of the 5 countries, yes, you should. Why is that? You file the fiance visa petition, the I-129F, and it takes USCIS 17 months. Sorry, 10 months. 10 months, my bad. 10 months to adjudicate that petition. So if you wait, like, I'm not going to file it, I want to wait till this pause is over, or ban, somebody said it was a ban, I'm going to wait. You're wasting time. You need to get in line, right? You need to get in line so USCIS can work on your case when the time comes, right? So that's how USCIS works, generally speaking. Am I correct about that, Odette? First in, first out?
First in, first out. So if you wait, you go to the back of the line, and all the people who filed while it's pending, they're going to start pulling and working those cases.
Exactly. Right. And even if there's, let's say there is just a pause, and, the USCIS, they tell USCIS, you don't stop working on these cases, right? We're not working on these cases because these are cases from this country. They're still going to work on your case as soon as that pause or ban is over, right? I mean, you're going to pick it back up. You're not going to go to the back of the line and start a new case. You're going to, right? Am I right about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. That's first in, first out. Get in line. Call us tomorrow. That's what you need to do.
Let us file your fiance visa petition for you. It's one of our top practice areas. Looking at it right there.
It is
and it's a process, and there's a lot that goes into a fiance visa petition. It's not just filing the I-129F and then your fiance miraculously appears in the United States of America with a green card in her hand. That is absolutely not the way it works. There's several more steps. People always ask, is the fiance visa process the fastest? It is historically the fastest for you and your fiance to be in the same country together, but is historically the slowest for that fiance to be having a green card in her hand, right? Because there's yet another process to do when he or she gets to the United States. And there was a time when, for some reason, fiance visa I-45s were just taking forever. So that's my answer to that.
All right. Odette, did you want to add anything to that, or you?
Nope.
Okay.
Just like, he talks a lot, so there's really nothing to add to that.
Covered it all.
No. Okay. Well, how about somebody who has their DACA and expired 3 years ago? They have a clean record, and they now have a daughter with their girlfriend.
Oh man, why did the DACA expire 3 years ago? That's a question, but I guess it's not relevant to this question.
We can't change the facts.
We cannot change the facts, but what we can do is take a look at this case, right? Let's take a look at this case. Do we have a provisional waiver situation? Is spouse in the military? Can we do parole in place? Is there a grandfathering situation? Do we have a 245I? I mean, you're asking this question. Your case needs to be evaluated to see what remedies there are for you and what we can do for you. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And as I like to say, for all of you all here on our live, thank you so much for being here, asking these questions. These questions we're answering, they're for your benefit. And I know there are people out there who are going to watch this video again or here now who are benefiting from the answer.
Right.
But guys, we don't want you to go home and fill out an I-129F application, right? That's not what we want you to do. That's what a lot of people do. That's where a lot of people fall down on the job. But what we want you to do is to call us and let us help you with your application and your petition. Now more than ever, that needs to be done. And if you don't want to call us, you want to call another qualified, reputable immigration attorney with a whole bunch of 5-star reviews, then go ahead and do that. But do something. Let someone else, a professional, handle your case.
Yeah, I mean, Odette, you saw a lot of lawyer filed cases and a lot of self filers, and I'm sure not every lawyer case was great, but I mean, do you have any thoughts on that about how cases come in filed by good immigration attorneys versus self filed cases?
Well, after you've been doing it a while, we know which ones are the better ones, which attorney files impeccable cases, everything's there, everything is checked off the checklist. So it's just a matter of just going over the application with asking the general questions that we ask, and it's usually smooth sailing.
Right.
Self-filed, now it's going to be a longer interview because we have more questions. Things might not match up. Some discrepancies may be there.
Right. So it is possible to do it yourself, but you're more likely to make mistakes. And the big concern that I always have is that sometimes these are mistakes that just can be corrected, but sometimes they're big mistakes that are actually fatal. You can actually make a mistake in an immigration case that will forever destroy your case, and then you're out of luck completely. Right. And so I think it's worth a consultation. I think you're worth a consultation to talk to a professional, just get an evaluation and see where it stands. And then you can make a decision about what you want to do.
Yeah. The way that our office works is you'll meet with our lead engagement specialist, and Wendy will do an evaluation. She'll ask you all the questions, right? And then if it's something that we can help with, we don't do every immigration case, and we don't take every person as a client who calls our office. She will then book an appointment with immigration attorney, one of the immigration attorneys, and our consultation is $295. So it's less than $300 by $5. And during that consultation, we'll go over everything and make sure the pathways forward for you and for your case. All right. Well, this is a good question here.
Yeah, sure is. The question here is, can USCIS approve an I-485 if you're in removal proceedings?
So I will answer this question. I actually remember. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of great memories in the Norfolk Immigration Office, but this is one of them. And I think you worked on this case, we talked about this case, but a case like this. So if you were paroled in, right, then USCIS has jurisdiction, even if you're in removal proceedings. This is something that we've gone back and forth on. And if you are, if you weren't, then no, USCIS does not have jurisdiction over that. And what would happen to that case, Odette? Like the person's in removal proceedings. You guys just don't have the jurisdiction to approve that I-485, no matter what.
We would actually admin close that 485 until the proceedings are finished.
Okay.
And then depending on what the judge orders, it'll come back into USCIS hands.
Gotcha. All right. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Jennifer here wanted to know, if someone gets detained, what type of lawyer are they looking for? They said civil defense. Maybe they meant criminal defense, maybe civil, or immigration. Jennifer, you would be looking for an immigration attorney who does removal work.
Yep.
So that is one area that we do not do. However, we work with a lot of attorneys that do removal work. So you can absolutely reach out to our office and we can put you in touch with some very good immigration lawyers who do removal work. And Sarah said, thank you so much for all the great information. It's super helpful.
Awesome. Okay.
Plum wants to know, my husband has been incarcerated. I've been scheduled for an interview, but I don't know what to do.
Really good question. I mean, I know what I would tell my client to do. What would you say, Odette? You go first.
Well, wait, is the interview in the US?
I'm going to just assume 485 interview. Husband is incarcerated.
Definitely show up.
We're just so on the same page, the three of us here. I
Mhm.
just love it when that happens. Both sides of the table agreeing on things. Yeah.
All right, so that's some great information.
Yeah, definitely show up and show that your spouse is incarcerated. If your spouse is, I mean, I'm going to say that usually the person answering this question is the beneficiary asking the question. Maybe not. I don't know. But let's just assume in this case, the person asking the question is the beneficiary and their petitioner spouse is incarcerated. So I would show, make sure they have you bring documentation that your petitioner is your petitioner / spouse is incarcerated. And I would also, have them sign a reaffirmation of, we still want to proceed with this I-130 petition. I mean, I would do those couple things. And I would also have an attorney present with me just to make sure that things are going smoothly, and whatever the immigration officer tells you, then your immigration lawyer will do the thing that needs to be done. So hopefully that helps. I know it does. We are 3 minutes over. We cannot be 5 minutes over with Odette being the first time. If we keep her too long, she'll never come back to our live stream. She'll never come back. And that would be so sad because it's been so much fun.
That's right. We're going to have to just come back next week because we have a lot of questions lined up still on TikTok, and it'll just go on like that all night. So
you got a few on Facebook too, I think.
8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. We've got, all kinds of questions, but we are out of time, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. We'll be here again next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. A super, super special thank you to Odette for joining us tonight. Yeah. What a great addition to the broadcast. Excellence.
Yes. It was really fun. Odette, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And for all of you guys out there, 2 thumbs up. Be amazing. Get your case filed and get it done. All right. 2 thumbs up.
All right. We will see you next week. All right.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night, everyone. Take care.